Right, we are live.
Got it.
Welcome, everyone. My name is Jennifer Storm. I am a consultant for the National Crime Victim Law Institute, and you are here today with our RISE Project's latest Facebook Live series, Ask for Rights. This is a series to create awareness about how we ask for victims' rights in everyday work. Each session is going to focus on a different topic area or a different discipline, where we are asking not only how are you looking to ask for rights, but what more could we be doing? We are going to be here live the third Tuesday of each month in this year to speak with our partners across the country, including RISE Project Legal Clinics, to really discuss innovative ways that we can ask for rights in our various areas of the justice system to ensure that crime victims are meaningfully engaged in our system and that they're activating those rights that they have been given by law. The National Crime Victim Law Institute fields thousands of technical assistance requests annually, and we encourage you, anyone who is looking into the area of victims' rights, to seek the guidance and the expertise of NCVLI. It is free. They do a phenomenal job at providing resources, and we are here to help on your journey to ensure that victims' rights are not only appreciated and known, but are enforced. So this month, I'm really excited. I get to have a conversation with Dave Thompson. And Dave Thomas is from the International Association of the Chiefs of Police, but is also a retired police officer with Montgomery County in Maryland. So on the front lines, having probably worked with thousands of crime victims and survivors yourself. First of all, thank you for taking time out of your busy day to be here with us. Welcome to the series. Tell us a little bit about yourself, your history, and your experience working with crime victims.
I've been fortunate enough to be in law enforcement. I started in 1986 as a patrol officer, and my career has actually been devoted to addressing violence against women issues. I was part of the first domestic violence unit in the state of Maryland in 1996. And throughout my career, I've worked on issues as they pertain to victims of intimate partner violence and violence against women issues. And the victims piece is really huge because we really need to level the playing field when it comes to making certain that victims are afforded their rights and that we in law enforcement are proactively helping them to attain those rights.
Well, first of all, thank you, not only for your service as an officer, but for taking up this mantle of interpersonal violence, because it's not one that every police officer appreciates or enjoys doing, right? But it is without a doubt such a large function of police work. So thank you for not only doing that work, but then elevating it to a place of purpose and really wanting to kind of go above and beyond for victims. I appreciate that. So when you think about asking for rights, as an officer, I'm sure you handed out the brochures, right? You had the paperwork that you had to hand to the victims that enumerated what their rights were. Tell me a little bit about that, and do any specific cases come to mind where you were able to really kind of effectuate that victim, elevating those rights, or the work that you're doing now with the International Association?
Well, what I see is, as I mentioned, for a long time, we've been handing out pamphlets and brochures and so forth. But presently there isn't as much being done by law enforcement to proactively assist victims in asserting those rights under the law. And so the question then becomes, what can and should we be doing? And that's what I think is real important for us to know. And the answers are going to really be varied based upon the state and depending on the laws within those states. But law enforcement, we really need to become educated on victims' rights in our states. We're pretty good on suspect rights. We know how to Mirandize people. We've been trained on that, and we're very diligent about doing that. But the education that we need really needs to go to asserting those rights for the victim. That's what I mean by leveling that playing field. We need to likewise have standard operating procedures such that we afford victims protections under the law on an affirmative basis. We need to be educated and trained what rights victims automatically get, what ones that must be requested by victims. And here again, standard operating procedures should be implemented to ensure that officers affirmatively make victims of crime aware of those rights, as well as those that they can assert. Now, I was trained well on that in the academy back in 1986. I taught at our academy for 15 years and trained officers on that. Trained officers on, you know, like I said, Amanda on Miranda rights and things of that sort. You know, we knew search and seizure. We knew all of these things, but it wasn't until I again talked to the victim advocates in my office now, who have educated me all along the way in so many aspects of victims' issues, and talked to them about this. And, you know, the light bulb came on. They said, well, Dave, you guys Mirandize people and all this. You have no problem making sure suspects get their rights. But how do you make certain victims or certain heirs? And I'm sitting there dumbfounded, right? And they were absolutely right. Talk about a light bulb moment. So we need to know the laws, the policies, the procedures. All of this should be a part of our promotional test system. It should be not only a part of the academy, the entrance academy, but a part of the field training officer program, just like those things that we do on the other side of that coin. And we really need to step up and do that. In some areas, we're doing it better than others. But in most areas, we really can do a lot with this issue.
Can you talk a little bit about what you are doing with IACP? And I know you have this wonderful partnership with NCVLI and do a lot of great work. So what are you guys doing to kind of help elevate that, you know, somebody listening today could say, oh, that's a really great idea. We could duplicate that in our jurisdiction.
Well, we're working with jurisdictions with sites across the country when it comes to law enforcement-based victim services, and showing agencies, working with agencies with victim services that come from within their agency, and also working with agencies who are working with community partners who aren't housed within the agency. We do that through the law enforcement-based victim service, the LEV program. We had an ELERV program, enhancing law enforcement enhancing law enforcement services to victims of crime, and making certain that all the partners knew their part in really making certain that victims are getting the rights and policies that they really need. We aren't, I mean, there's a lot of communities across the country that still need this type of direction and so forth. And they can go to our website at IACP, the International Association of Chiefs of Police, and obtain much of this information. We're not only working with the sites that are a part of the project, but we're putting out free materials such that other agencies can follow suit and do the same things for their agency and for their community.
That's phenomenal. I came into this work as a victim advocate, and one of the first things I did was sought out all of our law enforcement, because I said, you know, we need a partner. We need to be working together. You know, if anything has become abundantly clear, is that one person, one agency can't do it all. And so these partnerships are so integral. So thank you for doing that good work. Where can individuals find that amazing information that you were just talking about?
Well, I mean, you can go on to the International Association of Chiefs of Police website, www.iacp.org, and, you know, tool through there and find it. You can always, if you can't find something and you're really looking, you can email me at Thomas at THEIACP.org. I can direct you directly to the LEV program that I mentioned, or the ELERV program that I mentioned, or answer any questions you have about any aspect of intimate partner violence that we address on a regular basis. There's so many incredible resources out there. And you know, a lot of times it's just a matter of effectively finding where they are.
Wonderful. And I know for probably a lot of advocates out there, or community organizations, it might be intimidating to approach your local chief or your local department. Do you have any tips on that? Or is that an area also that IACP could kind of help facilitate that, the connection of a local community-based organization that really wants to work with their police department, but is almost intimidated, or it doesn't know how to get into that door?
Yeah, I think, and this is something where, find any inroad that you can. We'll be more than happy to help you reach out. If it's somebody in your local community you need help reaching out to. There are, I think, on just about every agency I've ever worked with, and I've worked in every state in the country over the years doing this work. And find those allies on the department. I guarantee you they're out there. When I came on in 1986, I was actually a women's studies minor in college, going into law enforcement, wanting to address violence against women issues. And I actually sought the abused person program out in Montgomery County and started working with them. And they were like, "Who are you and where did you come from?"
Yeah.
Right?
Can we have 100 more of you?
Yeah, it was like that was unheard of back in 1986. But there are individuals on agencies who already have the desire, I believe, to do this work and want to do this work. As I go across the country and do training and technical assistance, I run into officers all the time in the trainings that I'm doing and saying, where can I get more information, who are hungry for this? So it's not only the formal relationships, but the informal conversations and relationships that you end up finding this information. And for the officers out there, I'm telling you, the victim advocate community took me under wing and taught me so much along the way. They taught me to do trauma-informed interviewing before it became coined as that term, because they've been doing it like that all along. All right. There's so many things that they made clear for me just by having these conversations and so forth. You talk about making your job easier. It makes everybody's job easier when, as you mentioned earlier, we're communicating, we're collaborating, and we're cooperating on an ongoing basis. And that's part of what this is.
Well, thank you so much for not only your passion for this, your experience, your history, but continuing that education. At NCVLI, our whole role is creating those connections. And this campaign for Ask for Rights strikes at the heart of what you said initially, is that every person that you talk to knows what their Miranda rights are. But when you ask somebody what victims' rights are, a lot of them, unless they have unfortunately had to know what they are through their own circumstances, look at you like what is that? And so we're really trying to bridge that gap and make sure that people understand and appreciate what their rights are, how to get them, and then to make sure that they're meaningfully appreciated in the system. And that can be done through wonderful creative partnerships like yours. So thank you so very much for being here. And everyone out there, whether you're an attorney, a prosecutor, a judge, an advocate, a lawmaker, everyone has a responsibility in ensuring that crime victims' rights are not only known, but they're enforced. And the only way we can enforce victims' rights is if we ask for them. If you want to learn more about the Ask for Rights campaign, please visit NCVLI's website at ncvli.org. Get involved in your community today. We'll give you the tools and the resources that you need. Until next month, thank you so much. And again, Dave, thank you for all the great work you're doing.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Take care, all.